Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of One Credit Only here on Final Boss Fights. This time around we're going to be playing Time Crisis, arcade version, of course. I'll talk about the ports and the other versions later on. Obviously the first game in quite a long running series, which is still going to this day. This first game was released in 1995 by Namco in the arcade, released a port to the PlayStation 1 in 1997. This game featured 3 areas, each with three stages, I should say, each broken up into 3 areas, each ending with a final boss fight. You may notice during the video that my shots are going off rather quickly. I did record this, funnily enough, using a Wii remote with a gun adapter, but the actual emulation when I was recording the video only ran at about 50%. So it does look like I'm cheating, but I wasn't. The game was just running a bit slowly. Obviously the recording comes out at full speed at the end. So yes, first game, we obviously got the port to PlayStation 1 in 1997. The arcade version had a nice unique gun, only previously used in the Namco Point Blank game, which had a proper, recoiling barrel on the gun, which quite often got broken. I don't think I've in recent years seen any Time Crisis 1 machine still with working recoil on the guns. This game was also the first game to have a pedal cover system, which meant that when you basically pushed the pedal, you popped up out of your cover, allowing you to shoot the enemies, and when you released it, you hit back the iron cover, and that also reloaded your gun. As you can see on the screen there is a timer, so you couldn't really hang around and just hide your way through the entire levels. You had to crack on and get it done, because if that timer runs out, doesn't matter how many lives you've got left, it's game over. The timer was used in a more interesting way on the PlayStation 1 version, where there was a side story, or Gaiden version of the game, and that basically took into account your accuracy, your time and things like that, and changed the sequence of levels in the game so you could get multiple outcomes. The game went on to have a lot of different ports. There wasn't many ports, but there was quite a few sequels, and obviously it was pretty much a Sony only thing, being Namco. So we had Time Crisis 2. It was released in the arcade in 1998, which was then ported to the PS2 in 2001. That introduced a link play system where there was often 2 machines linked together, so you could play cooperatively, and you'd often go off in different directions in the same level to take on the enemies from different angles. Following that, there was a game called Time Crisis Project Titan, which was a PlayStation 1 only release. Namco only made it because at the time they didn't feel they could port Time Crisis 2 to the PlayStation 1 because the power just wasn't available. Then we had Crisis Zone, which was a sort of a spin-off title that was released in 1999 in the arcade, and again ported to the PS2 in 2004. Time Crisis 3 in the arcade in 2002 and ported to the PS2 in 2003. They introduced selectable guns, so you could pick up different guns and things like that throughout the game and choose between them. Then we had Time Crisis 4, released in the arcade in 2006 and ported to the PS3 in 2007. And then we've got Time Crisis Rising Storm, released in the arcade in 2009 and ported to the PS3 in 2010 as part of the Rising Storm triple pack, known as the Big 3 pack in Japan, and that was that came with an upgraded version of Time Crisis 4 and the other Namco on-rail shooter Dead Storm Pirates, and they obviously added Move controller compatibility to those games. So there we go, you just saw me, I finished level 1 and defeated the final boss there. And we're moving now into level 2. I played this quite a bit when in my younger days. I mean, I didn't play much in the arcade, but I had it on the PS1. An interesting feature of the PS1 version was the fact that you could put a controller into the player's 2 port and use that as your pedal to recreate the arcade style. So there we go, that was Time Crisis and the end of episode 2 of One Credit Only. See you next time, guys.